From the subreddit Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole? For telling my wife she can't get rid of the dog. 15 months ago, my new wife told me she wanted a dog. I had been told by my stepchildren and her longtime friends that my wife has a long history of wanting a dog more than anything in the world. She has the worst case of ADHD I've ever seen in an adult, then finding a new home for the dog when she gets tired of it. After a long conversation, she assured me that wouldn't happen, so I explained how much I love dogs and that she couldn't make a dog part of my family and then take it away. She promised. Fast forward a few months, and the newness wore off for her as my affection grew for our, very small, dog. He's not perfect, even after more than a year we can't get him to consistently poop outside, but he's such a happy, affectionate puppy. Without consulting me first, my wife spent $2,000 on a new dog, a whole other issue, last summer. As her interest in the new dog grew, her disdain for our first dog also grew. She wants to get rid of the first dog. I've told her she made him part of my family, and I'm now a package deal which includes him, so he's going nowhere. She thinks I'm an asshole for not standing by her. AITA? NTA. Just to be clear though, that's not a function of her ADHD. She's just being her callous, cruel, authentic self. Best EXO. NTA. Pets are not toys, they're living beings with feelings like us. You can't discard them when they're inconvenient. SMDH. NTA, but it sounds like you have some serious marriage issues going on here from what you've written. NTA, you made it clear that you will not be getting rid of the dog once it is part of the family. Dogs are not toys that you can just get tired of and put away. They are living creatures that need love. Don't let your wife get rid of the second dog when she gets bored of that one either. You are a 2-dog household now. Try to make it clear that 3 dogs are too much, if you think so, but if she gets a third dog, you can't get rid of that one either. NTA, but don't blame her ADHD. Replacing loved ones isn't part of it. NTA. You say you'd rather keep the dog than your marriage, and I think that pretty much settles the issue. Also, if you do end up having to choose between one or the other, I am 99% certain the dog will be the better choice for you in the long run. You said that you might be the asshole because you're expected to put your wife first. Well, that won't be a problem once she's not your wife. NTA. Your wife sounds like a piece of work though. Like other commenters have said, it has nothing to do with her having ADHD and everything to do with her lacking basic empathy. Just. Yikes. NTA. Curious when she'll get bored of you and her ADHD will kick in and she'll want to divorce you. NTA. Thank you for standing up for the little pupper. And I have some major concerns about your wife's behavior with animals. Is she one of those folks who gets a dog, doesn't bother with consistent training, and gets frustrated when it isn't perfect? Then of course thinks the next dog will be her perfect dog, wash, rinse, repeat? NTA, but your wife is. She is exactly the type of person who shouldn't be allowed pets. NTA, I have ADHD, I would never make decisions like this, I have too much empathy. She sounds like NY mom who also got tired of the novelty and would give our dogs away. She only managed to appreciate cats over the years because they fucked off and kept to themselves. She can have the feelings she wants, she doesn't get to control your life together over it. That's ridiculous. I don't think you really need to ask us about it. NTA, I'd rather get rid of the wife than my dog. NTA, I have ADHD and have 2 dogs. She needs to see a psych. Get treatment ASAP. Dogs are not toys, they are living, breathing creatures. NTA. Animals aren't just toys you can dump when you're bored of them, they're a lifelong commitment for the life of the pet. You warned her that you wouldn't be getting rid of the dog and she agreed at the time, so it's on her if she changed her mind. I'd suggest couples therapy because it sounds like this is something you likely won't be able to resolve on your own. NTA. It's clear that you don't get along. You're clearly incompatible. It's time to get a shiny new wife. I have severe ADHD and would never do this. My ex-husband did, though. In our 3-year marriage he probably came home with a dozen different animals, maybe more, and they would be rehomed randomly when they weren't attached to him like he wanted or once the shiny and new wore off and the work set in. It was incredibly traumatic. This isn't ADHD. This is a lack of empathy, compassion, and respect for both the animals and you. NTA. NTA she cannot keep doing that to those poor dogs. Stand your ground and ban her from getting any more animals if she is just going to want to get rid of the old ones. That's not how pets work. Keep the dogs, get rid of the wife. And hashtag X200B. NTA. How could you be with someone who is so cruel to animals and yet, and this is a big yet, still allows her to have them? NTA, but I seriously am dubious of your morals here, cause there is no way all these animals are being rehomed to good places. NTA, ADHD got nothing to do with her shitty behavior. NTA for wanting to keep the dog. But YTA for letting her get the dog in the first place. She has a history of this, enough that multiple people told you about it. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. The first time. If your wife can't manage the bare minimum, she shouldn't be allowed to get a dog. And if you can't stop her, because I know impulse control is not great in people with ADHD, how I ended up with a cat, then every time she buys one you need to rehome it. Yes, it will make your wife angry, yes, it will be hard to explain to her, but it's the right thing for these poor dogs given her history. They don't deserve to be cast aside because she hasn't/can't get her ADHD under control enough to keep a dog for its entire life. The cat has a happy life. She follows most of the dog's routine minus the walks, and because I struggle with impulse control has more stuff than she needs. NTA. Pets are family. They would be so sad if you just gave them away. NTA. You should get rid of that wife. NTA. Thank you for protecting your dog. You're a good human. NTA in any way, shape, or form. YTF are you with this woman? The attitude alone is a huge red flag. You can tell a lot about someone from how they treat animals, children and the elderly. Not the asshole. Please have a serious talk with her as why this kind of behavior is sick and wrong. She demanded a dog, promised that she wouldn't lose interest in IT, paid abysmal amounts of money for another dog without even mentioning it, and then decided to get rid of the first one just because she was sick of it. I feel really sorry for you. You obviously aren't an asshole. What she did was unacceptable. Your taste in women is deplorable, but you're not an asshole. Info: is your wife working with a professional on her ADHD? NTA. Your wife is an animal abuser. They are not toys to be bought and thrown away when she feels like it. Rehome your wife and keep the dogs. NTA. Maybe it's time to get rid of the wife instead. NTA. We had a rescue with severe fear aggression with anyone other than her pack. It was 11 years of pure hell, and yet I wouldn't have given her up for anything. I loved that girl to pieces. If you come into our house, you are there to stay, flaws and all. ADHD is not an excuse for crappy behavior. Good for you for standing up for your pet, but I would caution you to keep a close eye on him. If she can purchase a new one without your knowledge or discussion, then you may come home and find that the little one got out. Definitely NTA. She has no boundaries. She spent $2,000 on a dog without you, expect her to dump the old one off without you. Make sure they're both chipped with your phone number attached. It'd go to your vet and local shelters to get some info added to your file letting them know what she's about. She can do what she wants when she's single, but you need to make it clear you're attached to both dog and under no circumstance will you agree to get rid of it. I would have the conversation, then follow up with it in a text, so it's documented. She'll get pissed, but that's what will lock in the understanding. She needs therapy and medication. You should search on ADHD on Imgur. They have a lot of good infographics. It's a lot more involved than casual observers think. NTA. Person with ADHD here, and I'd like to say, much like the other people with ADHD in the comments, that this isn't part of her ADHD, it's part of her being an asshole. NTA. Dogs are living beings with thoughts and feelings. It would be traumatic for the dog to be rehomed on such a shallow whim. Your wife accepted the responsibility of bringing the dog home, now she's got to live up to it. As for the still pooping inside issue, do you guys stick to a potty schedule? Do you free feed the dogs or feed them scheduled meals? Do you take the dog out right after eating? NTA. Tell your wife I hate her. NTA. But your wife is. Rehome your wife. NTA. When you get a pet, that is a commitment you make for the rest of their life. Pets are not toys that you get to throw away when you're done with them or get bored. Most of my family has ADHD and they'd be horrified at what your wife is doing. This isn't ADHD. This is her being callous and cruel to a living thing once she's decided it's not fun anymore and continually repeating this cycle. She's even more of an asshole for just going and getting a second dog without consulting you first. And she'll continue being the asshole when she inevitably gets a third one once she's bored of the second one. With all you've said and your comments, it's only a matter of time before her ADHD kicks in and she kicks you to the curb because she's bored of you.